So Willie, what did you think about last night?
Well, it was an extraordinary moment for Joe Biden. And I'd just go back again. It was 6 months ago that he was left for dead politically. I mean, it was over. He fourth place in Iowa, fifth place in New Hampshire. Everyone knows the story. And now 6 months later, there he is standing on his third attempt to become president of the United States, accepting the party's nomination. I think from a content point of view, it was an optimistic speech that we'll get into. But also just from a delivery point of view, it sort of flew in the face of the criticism that President Trump and the Trump campaign has made of Joe Biden, that he's not ready, that he's fumbling, that he's stumbling. He was not any of those things last night. In fact, in his speech, Biden asked Americans to help him, quote, end this chapter of American darkness, speaking out against fear, anger, and division. He vowed to be a, quote, ally of the light. As President Biden said, his first priority would be to get the virus under control by implementing a national strategy that has been missing in this administration.
Just judge this president on the facts. 5 million Americans infected by COVID-19. More than 170,000 Americans have died. By far the worst performance of any nation on earth. More than 50 million people have filed for unemployment this year. More than 10 million people are going to lose their health insurance this year. Nearly 1 in 6 small businesses have closed this year. And this president, if he's reelected, you know what will happen. Cases and deaths will remain far too high. More mom and pop businesses will close their doors, and this time for good. Working families will struggle to get by. And yet the wealthiest 1% will get tens of billions of dollars in new tax breaks. And the assault on the Affordable Care Act will continue until it's destroyed. The tragedy of where we are today is it didn't have to be this bad. Just look around. It's not this bad in Canada or Europe or Japan or almost anywhere else in the world. And the president keeps telling us the virus is going to disappear. He keeps waiting for a miracle. Well, I have news for him. No miracle is coming. Our current president has failed in his most basic duty to the nation. He's failed to protect us. He's failed to protect America. And my fellow Americans, that is unforgivable.
Well, Joe, he's got the material for sure. He's got the material. Not one fact he put out last night was exaggerated or overemphasized for effect. This coronavirus pandemic has been botched from the beginning, something he warned about. And Joe Biden's life and service may make him, and the challenge that he's overcome, may make him the perfect vessel to answer to what we have seen over the past few years. What did you think of Biden's speech last night?
Well, we saw the parts where obviously he was talking about Donald Trump's record and what he considered to be a failed record. I thought more interestingly, though, especially in a time when Republicans are leaving their party and when you have former Republicans in suburbs and across the country trying to figure out what they're going to do this fall. I thought it was interesting that Joe Biden's speech, and you even heard this from conservative pro-Trump, I guess that actually is an oxymoron. You actually heard it from pro-Trump commentators last night that he did well. And I think it had that appeal even to some Republicans, because it was a speech that actually flipped the script on Republicans, whose leader has really twisted the soul of the Republican Party now beyond recognition. And you had Democrats, actually, and the Democratic nominee stepping into the void that was created by the moral and the political corruption of Donald Trump, which we saw again, of course, yesterday with the arrest of Steve Bannon. And instead, he delivered a speech whose themes I think could have fit far better in an acceptance speech from Ronald Reagan than Mr. Trump. The focus wasn't on a flurry of policy prescriptions from the 1984 San Francisco Democratic Convention, but rather it was on values, family, faith, military service of his son, patriotism, and yes, perseverance through tragedy, and one of the most Reagan-esque themes, the dream of a better day ahead and the belief that America's best days are yet to come. Now, that is a speech that'll stand in the starkest of contrast from Donald Trump and the Republican Party that he believes is rich, white, resentful, angry, and Willie, filled with conspiracy theorists. It is, again, the optimism was Reagan-esque, and yet everything you see Donald Trump tweet, every conspiracy theory you see him embrace, every democratic norm he tries to undermine, the latest of which, of course, being a fair election. It's the antithesis of what you would hear Ronald Reagan talk about in his acceptance speeches for Republicans.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.